Do you want to see how to get traffic to your website like I do from Google Organic Search? I am grateful to be growing rapidly on Google Organic Search. You can see last year my website had 0 sessions, not even one Google search result. This year, 7,860. But here's the real magic. Look at this at the beginning and then watch where it is now. You can see I'm getting around 80 to 100 a day now. And that's just the beginning. You can see this is trending higher. There's no telling where it's going to level off or if it will. The question is, how the hell do you get started doing this? Where did I start? I started actively doing what I'm going to show you right in here. And that's when all the growth started. SEO and getting traffic in Google was one of the biggest frustrations I've had in my business. And I'm going to make it really easy for you to do exactly this. And if you want more details, I'm going to show you now even more. So out of that 7,800 that I've gotten over the last year compared to the 0 I got the year before, take a look at this. This is my last month of search traffic. That's nearly a third of what I've got the whole year in 1 month. Actually, it's over a third of all the search traffic I've got in the last year I've got in the last month. And here's why. What I'm getting is month to month growth. So this is a couple months ago. This is last month. And then look at this month. What I aim to do is keep the numbers in the green every single month. Because if I'm growing every month, that leads to fantastic results. Now, when you're getting started, this takes a while because Google wants to test out your content and wants to slowly put you up where you're supposed to be. Google doesn't want to risk throwing up things that might not be good for its users. But once you show Google you have great content, Google will keep throwing more and more people at your website. And you can see it's not even about the search terms. It's about the volume. You can see no single search term has more than around 5% of the total. And you can see some of the things like my name search results have been consistently accounting for around the same amount of traffic. But it's in all these details, all of these terms where I've got a bunch of clicks coming in. And I will show you the strategy that works for me to do this, because figuring out how to do this was really frustrating. But now I've got a system that's ridiculously simple for doing it using YouTube, WordPress, and video transcribers on Odesk. You can do this entire system totally for free, assuming you have a website. I recommend you get a WordPress website like mine with a custom URL and get it hosted. It gives you a very professional looking appearance that's trustworthy to the world for a low price. I mean, you can pay $10 for a domain on something like GoDaddy. You can pay around $10 a month on something like HostGator. And you can have a professional looking appearance for just over $10 a month. And if you set it up that way and then do the strategy I'm showing you, you can count on consistently growing. And I am thankful to have this kind of growth, because if I tried to pay to get these 2,000 clicks that I got for free in the last month, it would cost me between $1,000 to $5,000 to pay for those clicks. Not to mention, I would have to spend a bunch of time in Google AdWords managing the ads, optimizing them to get my cost per click lower, and it would still cost $1,000 to $5,000. for having value on your website, organic search traffic is one of the biggest concrete things you have that shows value. If you ever want to sell a website or have a business sold or get valued, having that traffic is one of the most concrete things that gives you value. The power of organic search traffic is it's free and it's generally consistent. Look at my traffic over the last month. Almost every day around 80 to 100 results. Some days it's a little over. Some days it dips down to maybe 72. But I'm consistently getting growing amounts of traffic to my website. Now, here's the simple answer for how I do it. I write content. I write posts on my website that Google loves. And I'll tell you much more about how to do that shortly. So I create content Google loves, and then I share it on Google+. There you go. I just do the little +1 button, and I share it. That way Google knows I did it. When I write a new post on my website, I just click on it, and I go +1 it. And there, Google knows it's up there. I don't have to comment or anything. I just share it. And that way Google knows the content should be indexed. Google knows the content is online. So that's how I tell Google where my content is. And here's the key. If you want to show up on search results, you need to have a good user experience. So what is a good user experience? Well, let's do a search together. So first, it generally takes figuring out what people want. So what happens, you search for something like my name, and then my website comes up along with all these other search results for me. And I'm happy. It looks like I've gotten all the search results are under my control for my name, which is beautiful. That's what you want. And then here's the first result up here. I click on that, then I go to my website. Here's what Google uses to determine where you should show in search results. It's the user behavior, what I just did. That's part 1. Part 2 is what I do next. So if I go back out right now and go to another search result, that's going to tell Google that I didn't like what I found on the last search result. What Google wants is to see a good user experience out of its search traffic. So Google ranks each link based on a good user experience. So all I do is create everything based on making a good Google user experience. I try and make everything so that the data Google has says that people love my website. It's that easy. And the tricks to it, of course, I will give you much more detail about, okay, so what does Google consider a good user experience? So I just gave you the basics. But for ranking high, the articles that are ranking high consistently have the same approach for me. And it's because of the Google user experience I just told you about. This is one of my most successful pages. What do you notice on this page? As soon as someone drops on this page, there's a huge video to watch right here. For Google user experience, the time someone spends on a page is a good indicator of the experience. If they search for something, so let me do another search. So let's say another of my successful pages is having my Facebook ad account banned. I have a good resource for this. And so you can see Google has shown me up here first, probably because it suspects I'll click on it after going to the last one. So you can see Facebook ad account banned, my website comes up. A good user experience according to Google is when someone searches and has a problem, clicks on it, and then stays on the page long enough to get whatever they needed. So staying on this page enough time to read through and figure out what's going on. Okay, so I've read this page. Obviously, I know what's on it. But for a good Google user experience, Google expects a click through and no click back. So they expect the user to go to the page and either interact with the page more or to just close out. Because Google then says, okay, that person got what they needed to when they searched for that term. Now let's take a look, try something else, like something like SEO tips. So you can imagine this is a giantly competitive term. Everyone wants to be on SEO tips because then theoretically there's opportunities to get more out of that. You can see all these paid ads are trying to force their way up into the search results, but most of the time people go straight for the organic. So let's say I go right here, quick SEO tips your mother would love. And these are some good tips on here. But okay, so I read through them like, whatever, alright, I already know how to do that. Now I go to search result 2. And I stay on here. And see, these SEO tips are saying the same thing I'm telling you, right? Great content, right? Unique content. Add new content all the time. These are all things I'm going to tell you. Create a great keyword phrase. Choose a phrase that's popular but not too popular. These are good SEO tips. Now here's the thing though. If I back out and keep going to all these new articles, Google's like, okay, yuck. Google's like, okay, what do you want right here? And this page, you can see how fast I backed out of it because that one, yuck, I don't want that. Let's go to search engine watch this time. And there's an ad. I think I'll back straight out of that too. And here, now I'll go to the Google one. Do you need an SEO? That's funny, Google. Alright, I'll back out of that one too. Now, alright, let's say this one has all of the things I like. But it doesn't, so let's go to a different one. So here we go. So this article, this has some pretty good things on it. So now let's say you just saw how I searched. I backed out of all those other pages, and then I came down to this one. And I'm going to stay on here for a while. Now what does that tell Google? That tells Google that I did not like the search results I got on the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh result. But it tells Google I did like this one. Google knows that I do, or Google thinks I do like this search result because I didn't back out. Google assumes that I'm satisfied with what I found because I didn't back out and go back to that other search term. If you can understand that, you can understand exactly what I'm showing you for my search engine strategy. And I don't like to say SEO anymore because SEO to me is something that's done on a page, and I will show you exactly how to do that. But my understanding of SEO was more of gaming the system. But now I have an understanding of SEO as being applying good on-page principles and then giving Google everything in the actual content that tells Google it's a good user experience. So a good user experience is something that I just showed you. When people click through it and stay there and then close out the page and say, okay, Google, I found what I wanted to. I don't need to click and go back anymore. I don't need to go anywhere else. So one of the easiest ways to give a user a good experience and to tell Google that the user had a good experience is to start with a video in the top and then to have the exact whatever the search term was to have it down here. So it's obvious that you can scroll down and read if you want to, or you can watch the video. People love videos. The reason people love videos is videos communicate so much more. There's a voice, there's a narrator, and especially if there's screen capture, I always try and do screen capture because there's so much more depth to screen capture. As a visual person, I'm in the habit of looking at things first. So a good Google user experience is easiest to get when you have a format like this. And everything is carefully done here. So I'm giving you an overview right now of what I did to get these kind of results and this kind of double-digit monthly growth. So this is an overview of how to do it. Step 1, URL matches the primary keyword. Well, I shouldn't say step because that's not, I'll show you actually creating it, but I'll show you from top to bottom. So top, short keyword, most closely matching keywords. Video right on the page so that people can watch, because if there's just writing on the page, people are not likely to stay long, as you saw on those SEO articles I just Googled. Even if there's just writing, people are not likely to spend much time on a page, and they're likely to back out even if the page was good. If there's a video on the page, people are likely to spend a lot more time on the page. Not just that, but then I'm getting minutes watched on my YouTube channel also, and that's really valuable. Even if people don't watch the video, it encourages interaction with the page because you can see they have to scroll down. You have to scroll down to get all of the writing. So it encourages immediate scrolling instead of just stopping and backing out. And then next, the content. You can see the content is set up here to give people a lot of useful things. I very carefully wrote this for the exact search term to solve a problem. So I wrote this page so that it's useful no matter how old it is, because I've dropped a direct search link in on Patreon so people can see the top creators by patrons using these direct links. And then I've got a little table down here to make it easier. So you can see I've put a lot of, this is a massive post. This is a couple thousand words. So that's the next big thing, is giving Google enough depth to really know what you're talking about. So those are the basics of how I did this strategy. Those are the basics of what I'm doing, and the key is I'm doing it all the time. Look at my website and see how often I'm doing this. If you look at the newest posts, that's 4 new posts this week. Last week, several more new posts. Some of them are buried down here and down here in the recent posts. But if you can see, you scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page. The oldest post is June 30th on this page. So that's within the last 6 months. And there are more than 50 posts on this page. That's why I'm getting this kind of growth, because I keep doing it. If you saw in those SEO tips, they say you create great content and then keep doing it. So I'm continuing to create great content consistently, and the more I do it, the more Google is starting to understand that the content I'm making is consistently good, and it gives my brand new things I make a higher ranking in search. And the beauty is, it doesn't matter that my site has a low page rank. All Google cares about is how often people click on it. When I get click-throughs of 70-80%, Google will put me at the very first position nearly all of the time. But the best part is, it tells Google my website overall is good, and it starts some of my new things off a little bit higher than they would be otherwise. So thank you for following along, and I'm going to go into much more depth about how to actually do this, and I'm going to show you actually doing all of it.